Okay, calling the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
I tried to tell him. I'm like, T-Winkle's getting rate reviews.
Trustee Crane?
Here.
Trustee Wigan? Trustee Soilu? Trustee Barto?
Yes. Here.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Here.
Trustee Anderson?
Here.
Dr. Smith?
Here.
All right, so adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second?
Can I amend the agenda?
Okay, Trustee Barto?
I'd like to pull 16B.
16B, can you say what it is for us?
Yes, I wrote it down and I forgot.
41.
Is 16B would be approval proposal with Orange County
Yeah,
Department of Ed.
16B 41, thank you.
Oh, 16B 41.
For discussion, please.
Approve the renewal agreement between Groundswell and Newport Harbor High School for the 2024 school year. Okay, so you're suggesting we are moving to put 17, B41 to 17C. Okay. So now, do I have a motion to actually approve the agenda with the amendment of moving 16B41 to 17C?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wigan? Trustee Soilu? Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, so the vote is 5-0, with 2 absent, and the vote passes. Thank you. And do we have any community input on closed session items?
None.
Seeing as there are none, we will move to closed session. The items are A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, conference with labor negotiator. C, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment. D, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment, number 2024-03 HR. And E, consideration of student requests for postponement of expulsion hearing. We will return to open session at 6 p.m. Thank you. Call to order, 6 p.m. In closed session, the Board of Education took action to approve the employment agreement number 2024-03 HR. The roll call vote was as follows. 5 ayes, unanimous with 2 absent. We will now have Trustee Pearson lead us in the moment of reflection and a pledge of allegiance.
Please stand. Right hand over your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, adoption of minutes. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Trustee Barto moved it, and
Second.
Trustee Murphy seconded it. Roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wigan? Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Let's move on to Harbor Council PTA report. Ms. Martha Floor. It'll be like that for a while.
Yeah. Although I don't have to dress so fancy. Good evening, President Crane,
trustees, and Superintendent Smith and Cabinet. My name is Martha Fleur, and I'm the president of the Harbor Council Association of PTAs. I have a brief report for you this evening. Our 27 PTAs are busy setting up their calendars, budgets, and programs and activities for the 24-25 year. Memberships are gearing up, and today our council has, as of now, 825 of the over 5,000 we had last at the end of the year. We are hoping that each one of you will become a member of at least one PTA unit. Together, with 100% of cabinet and the trustees and anybody else who would like to join here, we will impact the lives of students and their families within Newport-Mesa. Each year, our PTA units participate in the National PTA Reflections Arts Program, which has been brought arts to the life for more than 10 million students across the United States since 1969. Isabela Juarez Padilla, a student at Corona del Mar Middle and High School, received a National PTA Award of Excellence in the Visual and Performing Arts. She qualified because she is one of our autistic students, and we talked about it, but she's now received a national recognition. Next year's PTA reflection theme is Accepting Imperfection. Reflections encourages students of all ages to unleash creative talents and be inspired to express themselves imaginatively and in their artwork. Experience the fun and joy of making art. Tap into the critical thinking skills to create art inspired by the national annual theme, and receive positive recognition for their original works of art. Our units are continuing to get comfortable with the Facilitron scheduling process. We hope to schedule additional trainings for those units with new officers in place. Thank you to the entire facilities team, led by with Matt Wong. We want to thank you for supporting our programs and activities with the easier to understand, okay, I got this right, group categorization and fee determination matrix.
Oh, good, okay.
We hope that the scheduler for the fall will open soon. There's now a system that's in place, I guess, that they're calling it school allocation matrix first. So all the schools get to have it first, and then PTAs and everybody else will get it. But it's hopefully getting in place by the 18th of August. Again, thank you so much. And school starts, yes.
Thank you. We move on to NMFT president comments. Ms. Rhonda Reed. I believe CSEA is skipping this one, but thank you for being in the room.
Good evening, President Crane, trustees, Dr. Smith, cabinet, and guests here tonight. Like with Martha Fleur, I can hardly believe. I mean, she's super excited. I'm excited too, but I'm like, slow it down a bit. Where did summer go? So excited that we're starting the next school year. This summer has been just a whirlwind of conferences. I wrote and received a grant from CFT for our union, so we had to attend, me and a couple officers, a week-long conference in Monterey, which was beautiful. But we had such long days, hardly could get out and enjoy it. And then last week, we spent the week in Houston for the AFT conference. So it was so wonderful to see the different educational unions across our nation, and also to see the leaders across our nation that were overwhelmingly supportive of unions. It was inspiring. So as you know, we are currently in negotiations with the district. Both teams have been working really hard, efficiently, professionally. We have our last scheduled meeting for this Thursday. However, most likely we'll have to put more dates on the calendar. NMFT will continue to work tirelessly for all of our educators to pursue salaries that reflect their worth, value, and respect, to maintain outstanding benefits, and to advocate for the classroom supports necessary to provide the high-quality education and instruction our educators give to all their students in a productive and safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move on to community input on non-agendized items, and I will be reading that statement for Dr. Osoilu, who has a little bit of a voice issue. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items not on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on non-agenda topics are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. By order of the Brown Act, Section 54954.2, the board will take no action nor have any discussion on non-agendized items. The superintendent may provide clarification during superintendent's comments. We have 3 comment cards. I have a question, Ms. Wendy Lees. It says non-agendized topic 12A, which,
The non-agenda general, and I put down there just to talk about a certain policy.
okay, so, all right,
It's policy, regulation 1312.2.
all right. Go ahead, come on up. And then next is Matt Armstrong, and after that is Charlie Metoyer.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Madam President, and Dr. Smith. My name is Wendy Lees. The policy regulation I want to talk about is 1312.2, complaints concerning instructional status. The process is, as you know, with a uniform complaint, could be about anything. And it's pretty generic as far as the state is concerned. In other districts, I've checked into how other districts handle this. A complaint is filed, and then the superintendent rules whether to receive it or, but if there is the option to have a committee formed. However, the committee is one resident and appropriate staff as determined by the superintendent to review the matter and make a recommendation to the superintendent. I find this is like a secret committee, and it's not really fair to the person that's complaining about something because there's no written report that from the committee, so that the person who's appealing has no clue what was discussed in the meetings. And even if you wanted to keep the people on the committee anonymous, there should be something that summarizes the discussion in the committee. Now, this was adopted in '09. So my recommendation is to update the policy and really, in some cases, maybe when you're reviewing a textbook or a library book, that the board should be the final say and not an anonymous secret committee. So that's my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Matt Armstrong.
President Crane, trustees of the board, Superintendent Smith, thank you for your service and thank you for hearing me tonight. I'm Matt Armstrong. I'm a teacher at Newport Harbor High School, and I'm actually coming with my Assistant English Department Chair hat on tonight with good news. Newport Harbor achieved a 16% improvement on our 2024 ELA CASP scores. We're back at or above 2017 or 2018 levels. I don't put a lot of stock in standardized test scores, but at least by this measure, NHHS has conquered pandemic learning loss in English language arts. And we did so without any academic, instructional, or curricular intervention. Sailors have been learning all along, even if their test scores don't always show it. The success is a result of open communication, a strong educational community, trust and cooperation between faculty and administration, and visionary leadership. Doctors Fox, Bolton, Shaka, Torres, and Smith, thank you. And to Keith Carmona for working closely with teachers as we build on that success. Also, kudos to my colleagues in the English department. When we all work together, great things happen. All education is based on relationships. Over the last decade, Newport Harbor has invested a lot in community building. These test scores are just one dividend. The strength of our school culture is another. So I want to be unambiguous. Diversity is our strength is not just a catchphrase. It's a commitment to consider all voices and consider all perspectives, because cooperation is how you achieve results. Sailor Pride is more than just an acronym. It's a reminder that we're part of something larger than ourselves. Now, over the summer, most teachers do a lot of prep and planning. This summer, many teachers and I have spent about 20% of our time dealing with an attempt to ban a book from our libraries. Now, think about how much more we could do for our students if we didn't have to spend that time and energy defending what we do. Think about the test scores. So the next time someone attempts to frivolous book ban, say no. Refer them to Board Policy 6144 regarding controversial topics in the classroom. They'll harass you and badger you, but they've been doing that for 5 years, and teachers will be able to focus on their students. When these same folks attack our human relations efforts, assure them that their voices have been heard, but that you are unmoved. Then point to our test scores. We don't need to relitigate decisions that have been made and arguments that have been presented at this very podium. These are just a few of the ways you can use your position and authority to protect NMUSD teachers and allow them to continue delivering results.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlene Metoyer.
You get used to it. You'll be fine. Good evening, President Crane, trustees, Dr. Smith, cabinet, and audience. I love using technology because it always backfires. I'm here today with my Personnel Commission hat on, and to acknowledge the fact that HR is always busy. Sometimes when we think we have summer vacation, HR doesn't. And our enviable summer programs utilize our expert teachers to provide outstanding experiences. 201, I heard positive and exciting compliments on our summer programs. Tonight, I'd like to highlight the other half of the team. Classified Human Resources assisted the hiring process for all of the summer programs. 348 classified employees were utilized over the summer to support elementary, ESY, language, secondary summer programs, as well as nutrition services, preschool, transportation, and warehouse. It's amazing how many people have to be in the village for the village to work for the kids. Also, as Ms. Olson knows, everybody is working like little crazy people to make sure we have the best hires to get ready for August, our August start. I have cousins that have already gone back to school. So when we complain about starting in August, they start in July. I said, we're gonna just apparently always go to school forever. It's headed that way. But I just wanted to thank the board and staff and administration for your gracious cooperation and collaboration to make the summer program happen, and to be very understanding and smiling when you talk to any HR people between now and the September 1st, because they're busy. And that was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We may have one more. We're just clarifying if it's a non-agendized or agendized item.
Yes, non-agendized.
Okay. Thank you. Please wait till I call your name.
I appreciate that you started on time.
Hold on, is this,
It says news items.
News items, that's
And-
first and last name.
Francine
Oh.
Howard.
Oh, I see, okay.
I reside in Costa Mesa.
Okay, Francine Howard, welcome, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm just wanting to perhaps bring the board up to speed on the latest news items that have been swirling about. And these aren't opinion pieces, these are factual statements, and there have been comments made by people in the district to these accusations. First, the email in May of 23 reveals students were secretly gender transitioned. There were 23 in all, 8 elementary, which would be K through 6. The response from a woman named Annette Franco, the district was unaware. Further, they found links to meet and greet events with surgeons at UCI, etc. And then fast forward to July 24th, 2024, the Daily Signal, California School District Hours, Newport-Mesa partners with LGBTQ Center that recommends trans surgeries for minors. The form asks the persons to fill out to select what kind of transgender surgeries. This is just on a QR code at Harbor High School. They can choose from top surgery, chest masculinization, breast augmentation, chest feminization, facial feminization, and then there's body contouring, hysterectomy, phalloplasty, vaginoplasty, metodiplasty, and something I can't pronounce, and the dictionary didn't even know what the meaning was. So then we go to July 25th, somebody decides to take down the LGBTQ resource link, and that was of just this past 25th, 2024. And then we go to the Daily Mail, which is an international news site, with the same article and a smiling picture of the principal, Sean Bolton, and then Ms. Franco again defending the school in an email, but declines to explain why the links have been taken down. So then now we're back to July 28th. Parents outraged school district forces children to room with trans students on overnight trips. And if the student complains, your response is, too bad, don't go. And then this Miss Coley, I believe, parents and students do not get to pick, and saying, I don't want to stay with Susie because Susie isn't a real girl is no different than saying, I don't want to stay with Sarah because Sarah is white, non-religious, Muslim, which I think are people of color would be interested that they are being put in
3 minutes are
with
up.
trans
Thank you very much.
people. Thank you.
All right, we move on to 13, superintendent's comments.
Yeah, with regard to the board policy questions, I guess the clarification I'd make is, in fact, tonight we're going to be hearing an item that's based upon that board policy. There'll be a 5-minute report on exactly what they did and what they found. So check that box. And then as far as the board making the final decision, which was one of the recommendations, that's once again why that item is actually on the agenda for tonight in public. So both of those things seem to be happening tonight. I would suspect to the satisfaction of the public member who made those comments. As far as test scores, right on. Great job. I think it's exciting when we get to talk about the reason we're here, to educate our kids, to see that success, to come out of the pandemic, and to see that kind of growth is powerful. And I just have to say, we've had a chance to walk through a bunch of the classrooms throughout the district. We had a chance to go through Matt's classroom with Pedro Noguera, one of the foremost experts in education achievement for all students. And he was so impressed with what Matt was doing in that classroom. As Matt said, he said it more eloquently, it's not by accident these things happen. We have great systems here. We have great teachers doing great work. We have great students. We have great families that support what they're doing in the classroom. Because we have that coherence, we're seeing great results. So kudos to the team, not just at Harbor. Matt mentioned the results at Harbor, but throughout the district, kudos to those folks putting the time in to benefit all students and helping them realize their dreams. I would just end with respectfully disagreeing that because it's in writing makes it a fact. Because someone puts it in a publication does not make it true. Even Michael Jackson recognized that in one of his songs. Just because you read it in a magazine.
Excuse me. We have protocols.
Make it accurate. The accuracy about secretly transitioned is not true. Never happened. The district came out with a statement. We said it publicly where there were 0 students in this district transition without parental involvement. 0. That's a fact. We shared that here. The links that they mentioned that we partner with, we do not partner with, and the things they mentioned in those links are not in those links. I think it's interesting, too, that when you actually look at the link, right, that they're calling out, right, because that would help us with facts. They mentioned this, and I think this is important for people in our community that say parents should be involved because they should, right? They're hugely important to this. And that's why this link that they call out in the article says, transitions exist rather to help guide the trans community and their families. They lead with families. Do you know that the first 2 links are about parents processing, about families uplifting, right? Families, parents, and their involvement. And then do you also know that for the other links that don't mention those things that were identified and read in public, you have to be 18 or older. 18 or older, right? Just like you do to join the military and vote in this country, right? So just because someone writes it in a magazine, in an article, even if they do it in the UK, doesn't make it true, right? Doesn't make it true. That'd be my clarification.
Thank you. We now move on to community input on agendized items, and I will read that. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on is there something I need to? Okay. Comments on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. Speaker cards for items on the discussion action calendar may be held until that item is considered by the board if the speaker prefers. And on that note, is there anyone who would like to hold? Okay. Okay, so this one can go ahead. Yeah. I would like to ask Luca Chudkouri to come up.
Good evening, Board President Crane, Superintendent Smith, and other members of the board. I am Lucas Shikori, a policy intern with Orange County Supervisor Katrina Foley. As former Newport-Mesa School Board trustee for the Costa Mesa High School Zone, the former Costa Mesa High School Foundation president, and football booster president for the Mustangs, Supervisor Foley supports the approval of consent calendar item 8. Supervisor Foley applauds the board's steadfast leadership in continuing a project that was first envisioned 20 years ago when parents, including the supervisor, advocated for these and many other improvements to Costa Mesa schools. Supervisor Foley looks forward to attending the ribbon cutting to celebrate the transformation of Costa Mesa High School athletic facilities. She thanks you all for your continued dedication and service to the schools and families of the Newport-Mesa area. And as always, go Mustangs. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have several agenda topic number on agenda topic number 17A, which is the book challenge appeal. And so what I would like to ask, and I'm going to call your name and let me know if you want to do your comment now or if you want to wait till we get to the item itself, because you do have that choice. So when I call your name, just let me know and I'll put yours aside if you want to wait till later. Corey Chuck? Now? Okay. Matt Armstrong? Gwen Gaylord? Quinn Corbett? No. Aaron T?
Yes, now please.
Lauren Boyd?
Now please.
Riley Shea?
Now please.
Bill Dunlap? So later? Okay, and Haley Jenkins?
I'm sorry.
And Haley Jenkins. Haley, would you like to do it now or later?
I'll go after you guys discuss.
So when we're at the item? Okay, great. Excuse me? Oh, it's before we discuss the item, but yes. All right, so let's begin with Corey, and then Matt Armstrong, and then Gwen Gaylord in that order, and I'll call the rest. And by the way, we have 9, and we have 20 minutes per topic, so some quick math. We're good, right? So no, a little less, 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to talk fast. Hello, President Crane, trustees, and Dr. Smith. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Corey Siak, and I'm an English teacher at Newport Harbor High School, and I'm about to start my 30th year teaching in the district. And with the exception of my time in college, I have been in this district as a student and teacher since I was 5 years old. One of the things I appreciated most about my education in this district, besides my amazing teachers, was all the choices I was given while navigating through my educational journey. Earlier this summer, librarians and teachers learned of a challenge to the book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, in our high school library collections. We were encouraged to hear that the book review committee voted 6-1 in favor of keeping the book. An appeal to that decision is on tonight's agenda. Although it is unlikely there will be any reason for the board to invalidate the committee's recommendation, we would like to offer our support to NMUSD trustees and ensure that the voices of censorship are not the only ones at the podium. There are 5 teachers here tonight who will offer 5 different perspectives on book banning. I'll be speaking about the professional practices that inform book selection. Now, before I speak to this, I want to be clear. We should not ban books. Certainly, there are texts that have no place in our schools, but book bans are not the way to keep them out. The professional educators who are in charge of these decisions are experts. Librarians, teachers, and administrators have all been trained in accredited programs. They have all been certificated by the state of California, and in NMUSD in particular, we boast some of the best talent at all levels. There are organizations that offer guidance, such as the California Library Association and the American Association of School Librarians. There are local district protocols for book selection and procurement. There are long lists of approved texts at the state, county, and district level. Educational organizations such as the College Board, ERWC, and International Baccalaureate all publish databases of recommended texts. We also use online resources to evaluate books, Goodreads, Common Sense Media, and bookstore websites.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next is Matt Armstrong.
President Crane, Dr. Smith, members of the board, thank you again for hearing me out. I am still Matt Armstrong. And there are people in our community trying to take books out of kids' hands, and they're asking you to do that dirty work. There are many problems in our society and in our schools, but censoring books will not solve any of them. Book banning is simply not a means to any good end. I will concede there are books in our libraries that are offensive. Any book might be deemed offensive in some way to some person somewhere. So yes, there should be safeguards in place, and there are. There ought to be a whistleblowing mechanism, and there is. But it is abuse of this system when somebody manipulates it for their own political ends. Some people find value in stoking outrage, and school board meetings are an easy way to get cheap airtime. Other folks just want to manufacture inefficiency and distrust as evidence for their foregone conclusion that public schools don't work. And they don't even have to read the whole book. I suspect they haven't. Any book challenge that goes to committee and appeal demands upwards of 100 hours of human capital. If we entertain every bogus book challenge, we won't have time for the important work of education, which is exactly what the opponents of public schools want. I understand the board can't simply write off the haters completely and permanently, but please remember they represent a fractional minority of our community. The vast majority of actual parents of actual students in our schools are absolutely fine with the materials available in our libraries. So the question becomes, how do we maintain legitimate transparency, openness, without being manipulated and victimized by those who would abuse our institutional processes? Well, I'm about out of time, but Ms. Gaylord will have some practical advice on that matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gwen Gaylord, followed by Quinn Corbett, and then Aaron T.
President Crane, Board Trustees, and Dr. Smith, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Gwen Gaylord, and I am a true product of NMUSD. I attended Woodland, Kaiser, and Ensign before graduating from Newport Harbor. I now teach high school English at my alma mater, and as of 11 months ago, I am a parent to a curious and intelligent infant who will someday attend the same schools that I did. Because of my passion for this district, I find the following question pertinent, the one that Mr. Armstrong just brought up. How do we ensure that the parents we serve are partners with a meaningful voice in the decisions around their kids' education without counterproductive book challenges against texts that actually help students develop as readers and thinkers? The board, under the guidance and direction of Dr. Smith, is clearly well equipped to handle the process of book challenges, and we thank you for having such a democratically conscientious system already in place. But in light of current events, we have some suggestions regarding how the board might consider evaluating additional books under consideration. For example, if a book is approved by the state of California, the OC Department of Ed, the International Baccalaureate, or the College Board, the credibility of these entities may be sufficient to protect the titles being challenged. Something else to consider is the intent of the text. Many books do represent inappropriate content. Depictions of genocide, racism, harm, and hatred, for example, are and should be difficult to read. But representation is different from promotion. If a book is clearly intended to inspire violence, promote a hateful agenda, or undermine the foundations of civil society, these intentions ought to be considered. However, such books are not offered in the high school libraries of Newport-Mesa schools. And since we are talking about public library books that are available for self-directed, interest-based reading, we ought to default to comprehensivity within the canon of what the aforementioned bodies deem appropriate. Because underlying these principles is a simple truth. High school students are independent thinkers. Just because they read about something doesn't mean they'll do it. Generations of American students went through reading The Scarlet Letter and The Great Gatsby, but no reasonable person would argue that these titles in our classrooms make Americans more prone to adultery. By the time they reach our English classrooms, our students' teachers, and more significantly, their parents have spent their lives helping them to learn what is right and wrong. Thank you.
Quinn Corbett.
Good evening, President Crane, Superintendent Smith, and trustees. Thank you for your time. My name is Quinn Corbett. I'm an English teacher at Harbor. I'd like to open with a famous FDR quote. "We have to fear." And we immediately know what's wrong with this because that's not the entire quote. He did say we have to fear, but the larger context is the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Context matters, and it is essential to understanding. Someone appealing the committee's decision on Perks of Being a Wallflower may come to the mic tonight or a future night and present decontextualized quotes from the novel. It's impossible to know what naked passages might be chosen about suicide, abuse, sex, but just to choose an example from page 30, they might express a passage in which a high schooler sexually assaults a classmate. However, in the context of the novel, the scene is intended to be read for what it is, morally wrong, disgusting behavior, and no reader of any age would believe otherwise. Furthermore, if you consider the entire novel, there are very healthy conversations between parents and their children and teens and their peers about sex. In fact, there is a lot of emphasis on consent and safety. In a key scene towards the end, Charlie gets uncomfortable in an intimate moment with Sam. Charlie stops it. Sam respects his boundaries, and then she comforts him for feeling bad about it. Surely, this is a worthy scene for many young people to read, as it teaches the importance of consent, demonstrates the value of trusting partnerships, and models qualities students should want to embody within themselves and find in their peers with whom they spend time. Novels are not how-to books. I can assure you, students are not vaping in the bathroom because they read a story, or covering up abuse and self-medicating because they read this story. Students learn from this story. Students who pick up the Perks of Being a Wallflower aren't doing it with some twisted hope of leering at some dark underbelly of teendom. They pick it up to see a person struggle with the things they struggle with. And Charlie ends up okay. I hope all of our students feel
Thank you very
hope.
much.
Thank you.
Aaron T., Lauren Bort, and Riley Shea. In that order.
Thank you, esteemed members of the board. I'm not just Erin T., I am Erin Topping, and thank you
I
for
was going
hearing
to say
me
that,
tonight.
but I think
I know. Well, I must have gotten nervous and written it down funny. I came to the perks of being a wallflower as an adult about a quarter of the way through my 26-year tenure as an English teacher at Corona Del Mar High School after a not insubstantial number of book reports on it. It was thoughtful and surprising and unsettling. Reading Charlie's first-person point of view, I remember thinking, is this what it's like to be a teenager now? That is completely different from my own experiences. I still think it's one of the most sincere, thoughtful, insightful books that I've ever read. So we know each reader experiences a book differently. We bring our own knowledge, sentiments, and yes, our own prejudices to it. A scene that resonates with me might not even be notable by you, or a brilliant observation you highlight might be offensive to me. But what valuable discussion we can have about it. And I can tell you as a stepmom to former teenagers, our serious conversations were often challenging and insightful and downright cringy. But books often provided an ideal way to open those conversations about self-harm, boundaries, respect. Since we can't presume that each reader is going to read a book the same way, it seems preposterous that each parent of the reader is going to feel the same way about a book. Parents' rights are important to this community, so it's difficult to understand how a small faction of voices can argue for parents' rights when their actions will strip those rights away by removing books from libraries. Let parents decide what's right for their kids, but not for all kids. Even better, leave the libraries alone. Better still, read the books your kids are reading. Talk to them about it. Listen to their stories. Stephen Chbosky wrote, "This moment too will be another story." I just hope we meet it in the right way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Lauren, and then Riley.
Good evening, trustees and community members. My name is Lauren Boyd. I graduated from Newport Harbor High School in the spring of 2023. When I was a promoting 8th grader at Ensign, I remember sitting on the stage in the Robert B. Wentz Theater with my fellow classmates. Golden Stevies had just been awarded, and a middle-aged woman walked up to the podium where she began talking about her son. Mitchell Rimlinger was 16 years old when he died as a result of diabetic ketoacidosis. His favorite book was To Kill a Mockingbird. In his memory, his family created an award given to one 8th grader at Ensign for excellence in English in the form of a hard copy cover of his favorite book. I heard my name ring out across the auditorium, and my hands shook similarly as they do today, and I began to step forward. That was the first time in my life that I began to understand that English wasn't just a subject I was good at in school, but something that is core to who I am. I soon realized that English and my journeys through literature were informing and expanding the lens in which I viewed the world and connecting me to others who experienced the same. Almost 6 years later, and I am an undergraduate English major in college, at a time when books like To Kill a Mockingbird have been banned or challenged by some California school districts. But the thing about banning books is that it does more than pull titles off of shelves. It erases legacies like Mitchell's. Banning books serves nobody. It is nothing but the reflection of a small band of people in our community who rely on fear-mongering as fuel for coordinated political attacks. Today, the Perks of Being a Wallflower, a book that traverses the intricacies and turmoil of adolescence and offers teenage readers solace and community, has been called to the chopping block. Tomorrow, it could be To Kill a Mockingbird. I compel you all to think about legacies like Mitchell's and students like myself when making impactful decisions like these. Don't give in to some people's fear of discomfort. In the face of suppression, choose liberty. Be an Atticus Finch and protect the right to read. Thank you.
Thank you. Riley Shea. Riley Shea.
Good evening, board. Good evening, trustees. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Riley Shea. I'm a recent graduate of Newport Harbor High School, so recent as of this last June, very exciting. And when I was a sophomore, I was really, really depressed. There was a lot going on in my life. I had a lot of struggles. I was dealing with relationship issues, family issues, and this book, I swear to God, it saved my life. Every morning I would wake up and I wouldn't want to open my eyes. I would want my eyes to stay closed. I never wanted to wake up again because I was just in such a deep bout of depression. And yet this book, this story, and these characters showed me that I can live another day because they can live another day. This book is about a teenage boy who makes it. This book is about a teenage boy who is okay, which showed me that I'm a teenage girl and I can be okay. I felt very alone when I was a sophomore prior to reading this book. And reading this novel allowed me to see that I am not alone. Neither are the millions of people who read this book. Neither are plenty of students who will have access to this book in their library when we choose not to ban it tonight. I will admit this book, as previously acknowledged, has some heavy scenes, but I would like to acknowledge that these heavy scenes resonated with me instead of, making me, as Ms. Gaylord alluded to, making me want to do horrible things or anything of that regard. This book teaches you that you're going to be okay. This book sits in your heart, and this book is the most well-spoken novel I've ever read, and trust me, I have read lots of books. It teaches you that you may struggle, but you're going to be just fine, and it teaches you that you have a community behind you. You are not alone. You will be just fine. You are okay. And without this book and without that message, I'm not sure I'd be here today. And I'm sure that the story is similar to many students who have the opportunity to read this book. So I would like to urge you to ensure other students have the same opportunity I was given. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the other two statements we will read at the time of the item. We move on to item 15, which is achievement, a report on career and technical education. Ms. Torres?
Yes, President Crane, trustees, and Dr. Smith. You have in store for you tonight a wonderful presentation from our career and technical education team. And at this time, I'd like to welcome up Keith Carmona, our Director of Teaching and Learning, Rachel Kloppenberg, our Coordinator of Career Counseling, and Lisa Snowden, who is our Coordinator of Work-Based Learning. And this trio here is going to wow you with some amazing information related to our career and technical education pathways, opportunities for students, and a look at the future.
We practice Control L. We'll go the other way. Isn't it ironic that this is a CTE presentation? President Crane, members of the board, Dr. Smith, thank you very much for taking the time to listen about our wonderful CTE programs here in Newport-Mesa. The real stars of the show are behind me. We're really excited about sharing all of the wonderful things that are happening in CTE, and thank you for allowing us to take the time. Once again, we have our two wonderful coordinators, first of work-based learning, Ms. Lisa Snowden, and of career counseling, Rachel Kloppenberg. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you, Board President Crane, trustees, Superintendent Smith, Executive Cabinet, and guests here this evening for the opportunity to share how CTE is shaping the next generation of college, career, and life-ready students. CTE has transformed from a traditional vocational training model to a comprehensive program integrating both academic and technical education. Today's CTE emphasizes college readiness, work-based learning, industry-recognized certifications, and development of leadership skills. In this presentation and the handouts that you should have, we aim to showcase the progress that we're making towards our goals and seek your continued support of our efforts to innovate in key growth areas.
Hello, esteemed trustees, Dr. Smith, President Crane. I'm very happy to have had the opportunity to join this team last year and to see firsthand the amazing opportunities available to our students and to witness the rapid growth of CTE across our schools. I wanted to begin our presentation by taking a look back at where we were the last time the Office of College and Career Education had the opportunity to present to you in the summer of 2022 and where we are now. In the 21-22 school year, we offered 114 CTE sections in Bell for grades 7-12, and we had 16 high school pathways. In that summer of 2022, we were preparing for the introduction of the Back Bay Spider Lab and working on introducing child development at Costa Mesa. Now, just a few years later, those programs are flourishing. And now we will be entering the 24-25 school year with approximately 127 in-Bell CTE sections across 23 high school pathways.
We are excited to introduce a full animation pathway this year at Corona Del Mar High School, and we will be growing computer science at both Costa Mesa and Estancia.
With our expanded CTE sections and new pathways in place, let's take a look at the growth, the impact that this growth has had on our CTE student enrollment. The graph on the left shows our CTE participants over time. A CTE participant is any student that is enrolled in a CTE course. As you can see here, the graph illustrates an increase in growth across most of our schools. Notably, Costa Mesa has seen significant growth over the last 4 years. You'll see the increase in Back Bay last year, and this is due to an additional digital media arts pathway offered there. And also at Tewinkle, thanks in part to the restoration of 2 CTE electives last year. So we're really happy to see that. So when we talk about completers, that's our graph on the left. And a CTE completer is any student who successfully navigates through a proper sequence of courses, achieving a grade of C or higher in the capstone course. And the graph here shows a really exciting story with some remarkable growth and steady increases across all of our schools. I'd like to point out the growth at Costa Mesa and Newport Harbor. And Newport Harbor, just this last year, actually broke a record with over 100 completers at that school, and that's very exciting. Other schools like Corona Del Mar and Estancia have also seen steady growth.
A source of pride in our department, which we would like to highlight for you this evening, is our work with women in STEM. Just last year, we had 512 female students, grades 7-12, enrolled in a STEM CTE elective course. This actually is 4 times the number enrolled pre-COVID. However, it does still represent only 37% of the enrollment in those courses, so we do continue to identify it as a growth area. Our CTE team proudly boasts 10 dynamic female STEM teachers, and in this engineering pathways in particular, 7 out of our 9 engineering teachers are female. And 2 of those teachers I actually want to shine a special spotlight on. They're on the far right of the picture at the top. That's Brianna Nahara and Kimberly Riley. These 2 took over the Eagles engineering program last year. Brianna Nahara also teaches the bilingual algebra class and aims to increase accessibility of the engineering pathway for our EL students. Kimberly Riley, passionate about computer science, is leading the charge at infusing computer science into their engineering pathway and will be teaching Estancia's first AP computer science course this year, of which they actually are going to be running 2 full sections. And then we also, for the 3rd year now, will be partnering with the City of Costa Mesa to host the annual Women in STEM event this spring. This event is a place for our students to meet with female professionals in the field and develop networking and communication skills. We also wanted to share with you just some of our STEM female CTs, students and our teacher who are just crushing the competition. One group you may not have heard from before is in the top center. This picture is taken at our Dreams for Schools program. This was an after-school program for middle school students to learn how to code. And in the program, they worked in teams to develop apps, and then at the end competed in a showcase competition. So out of 10 teams district-wide, the all-female team in purple from Corona Del Mar Middle School emerged the champions.
Another spotlight of our program is our connection to business and industry. In CTE, we strive to elevate a student's educational journey with meaningful partnerships. Our program offers a continuum of work-based learning experiences, everything from guest speakers and field trips to mentoring, job shadowing, leadership development, and more. Students also have an opportunity to participate with a local business to apply their learning in a real-world setting. You can see by the numbers here that our teachers have been working very hard to bring that real-world learning to students. This summer, we actually piloted a new course. It's called Professional Internship, where we place CTE students in within various organizations, some of those being Ware Malcolm, UCI Health, and Edwards Life Sciences. In fact, the student on the bottom left, she gave me permission to use her name and share her story. I just spoke with her this afternoon. Her name is Samantha. She's a Costa Mesa High School student. She just finished a 6-week internship at Edwards Life Sciences. There, she got to participate in career readiness workshops. She met with mentors to learn about the various careers at Edwards Life Sciences, but also within the field. She also enhanced her collaborative leadership skills because she got to be the project manager of a heart awareness campaign alongside students from other districts. And in this heart awareness campaign, students designed innovative and accessible healthcare solutions for underserved communities affected by cardiovascular disease. Samantha had this to say about her internship. This experience has equipped me with the appropriate tools to navigate the pathway to success in a professional setting. Our focus remains on creating impactful work-based learning experiences with a growth area on expanding our internships and developing robust apprenticeship opportunities in exploration with various organizations and businesses, including the City of Costa Mesa and others.
To begin to close our presentation, I want to share with you what is on the horizon for our department. We will be supporting this year the alignment of the Project Lead the Way engineering curriculum, PK-12 in our district. So at the elementary level, all students will now have access to the launch curriculum via the science specialists. And then now with the introduction of middle school electives at both Corona Del Mar and Monte Vista this year, all 5 middle schools will be offering gateway curriculum electives. And then at the high school level, we continue to expand and enhance our 3 comprehensive 4-course PLTW engineering pathways at Corona Del Mar, Costa Mesa, and Estancia. At the elementary level, we also will be piloting career-connected schools at Newport Heights and Victoria Elementaries. So this initiative allows students to leverage their strengths, interests, and values to foster a career-curious culture. This is a partnership with OCDE and Educators Cooperative, and it builds upon the World of Work, which has seen great success in the Cajon Valley Union School District and now nationwide. And then finally, we're working on increasing college credit opportunities for our high school students through partnerships with our local community colleges through increased dual enrollment and articulation opportunities.
So Rachel and I are extremely excited to kick off the school year with our CTE teachers in a couple weeks. But we also want to remind everyone here in the room that we have our upcoming College and Career Fair at the OC Fair and Event Center on October 16th. So we hope to see you and our students, family, and community there. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions you have.
Wow, thank you. Trustees, any comments, questions? I don't see any lights. Trustee Barto?
I just wanted to thank you all so much. I feel like CTE has just grown by leaps and bounds over the last 2 years, and just watching everyone succeed. And one of Edwards Life Science internship is amazing. I know a lot of other school districts in Coastline ROP have been doing that sort of thing, so it's great to see our students taking advantage of those opportunities. Thank you for your hard work.
Trustee Murphy.
I echo Trustee Barto's comments for sure. And the question that I get asked, so just pro forma, like, how do you get into a CTE? That is what I get asked by parents all the time. How do I get in? How does my student join a career technical pathway?
Well, the students should be meeting with their counselors. The counselors should be providing a course selection sheet with a list of all the opportunities available. So just in talking with their counselor, they can enroll in a CTE course or pathway. They can also speak with the ROP College and Career Specialist through Coastline ROP. We have 5 of those supporting all of our schools, including our alternative education sites, if they're interested in exploring what they have to offer after school.
Thank you.
I can add to that a little bit too. Also, especially at the 8th grade level, I know that's super important because they might be choosing a 4-course pathway starting in their 9th grade year. So I encourage all parents and families to attend whether it's a Future Eagles Night, Future Mustangs Night, available to them. And that's a great place to explore and speak with a lot of our CTE teachers and learn how to enroll in those programs.
I do have a question in the interest of the public. If a student lives in a certain attendance area and is interested in a pathway that is offered at another high school or another site, what is our policy for that? Is there a transfer policy? Because the whole point is to basically offer our kids a pathway to success for something they're passionate about. So do we have that for them?
Yes, students can transfer and put that request in if there's a pathway that is not offered in their area. For example, just last year, we know that we had a student who lived in the Newport Harbor zone, but really wanted engineering at Estancia, and so he transferred and successfully completed the pathway last year.
Okay, that's fantastic, because that's the whole point. So it's good to know that we have that in place. Great report. I also appreciate this nice little handy-dandy fact sheet. We love data. We love to have that. And you know, we're out in the community a lot, and I get a lot of comments about how we're having a shrinking skilled labor force, and not every employment requires a 4-year college degree. And so my answer is yes, we are doing a whole vocational career technical educational pathway, and they're just thrilled to hear that. So I do know that not only our parents and our students are excited about this, but also our community at large. So thank you so much. Great report.
Thank you.
All right, we move to item 16, which is consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended?
So moved.
I'll second.
Trustee Pearson, and a second. Who was the second?
Trustee Barto.
Trustee Barto, roll call, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand? Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you, unanimous. Motion carries. So we move on to discussion action calendar, item 17, with 17A, which is the appeal regarding high school library book. And Dr. Smith, before I turn it over to you, we will now do the public comment cards from Mr. Bill Dunlap and Ms. Haley Jenkins. You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Board, for letting me address you. I'd like to just bring up the book review committee quickly. I thank Mr. Smith, Dr. Smith, for telling us and explaining that to us, but I do not see within the document, the policy 1312.2, other than item B regarding intellectual integrity and the protection of those involved. I don't think that extends to anonymity. In the arena of jurisprudence, which this kind of is because it's an appeal and we're going back and forth, normally you know the parties on both sides. At the Newport Beach Public Library, where we have discussed books with them, we know exactly who's reviewing them, and they're all members of the community. This makeup of the committee is basically 5 district staff people, of which we don't know where they live, and 1 community member. So normally you would have more community members of diversity, and that's fine. We want to have both sides discuss. So that is a concern, and I've never been in a situation, be it in a court of law or on any board, where all the people involved were not disclosed and who they were. So with that, I'll move on to the book. I think the book really, I don't want to ban the book. The book can go to the public library, which is just down the street from every high school. So that's fine. But for it to be part of the curriculum, be it in a library and a secondary school, I think is a stretch. The depiction of sexual acts is highly offensive and unnecessary. The language of the street is not a required component of quality secondary education. The students are going to get a lot of that just going in and out of 7-Eleven. So we don't need to have books. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Haley Jenkins?
Hello, Superintendent Smith, President Crane, and members of the board. I don't expect you to move the book. It's highly doubtful. I know some of you are in a group of women that read banned books for fun for your political group. So I'm not expecting that much from you, but it takes a lot of courage to move a book. I like how they call it banning. You're not banning a book. You can move it out, and like Mr. Dunlap said, all of the libraries have these. The students have access to it. You could probably go online and read it as well. Your job here is to make sure that things are educationally sound. That's your job. Keep children safe when they come here away from their families and give them a good education. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of other books that are more suitable for a child's education. This in no way benefits them. And to have a scene where it's talking about the boy pushed the girl's head down and she started to kiss his penis, she was still crying. I had to stop watching at that point because I started to feel sick, but it kept going on and they kept doing other things. Again, you are here to help children not just physically be safe, but mentally and emotionally. And reading a book like that at a school is not for them. The school is for education, not entertainment. So I would urge you to move the book, but I have my doubts. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Dr. Smith, if you'd like to take this on.
Yeah, you bet. The process will be Ms. Wendy Leaks will be given 5 minutes to present her verbal statement and evidence to the board. After that, Dr. Mike Shaka will be given 5 minutes to present a verbal statement and evidence of the district's decision. And the board will have their time to deliberate.
Thank you. Ms. Lees, would you like to come up and you have 5 minutes?
Don't start yet. Okay, let's go. The book is about Charlie's emotional growth in high school through his new friendships with other teens, which is commendable. Well, what are the perks of being a wallflower? Title seems harmless, shy, introvert, socially immature, trying to make friends maybe. Aha! One of the perks is watching two teens have sex. Well, let's read it. The scene takes place in Charlie's room at a party when his parents are out of town. This one couple, I'm reading on page 30, whom I was later told were very popular in love, stumbled into my room and asked if I minded them using it. I told them that my brother and sister said I had to stay here, and they asked if they could use the room anyway with me still in it. I said I didn't see why not, so they closed the door and started kissing very hard. After a few minutes, the boy's hand went up the girl's shirt, and she started protesting. Come on, Dave. What? The kid's in here. It's okay. And the boy kept working up the girl's shirt. And as much as she said no, he kept working it. After a few minutes, she stopped protesting, and he pulled her shirt off, and she had a white bra on with white lace. I honestly don't know what to do at this point. Pretty soon, he took off her bra and started to kiss her breasts. And then he put his hand down her pants, and she started moaning. I think they were both very drunk. He reached to take off her pants, but she started crying really hard. So he reached for his own. He pulled his pants and underwear down to his knees. Please, Dave, no. But the boy just talked soft to her about how good she looked and things like that. And she grabbed his penis with her hands and started moving it. I wish I could describe this a little more nicely without using words like penis, but that's the way it was. After a few minutes, the boy pushed the girl's head down, and she started to kiss the penis. She was still crying. Finally, she stopped crying because he put his penis in her mouth, and I don't think you can cry in that position. I had to stop watching at that point because I started to feel sick, but it kept going on, and they kept doing other things, even and saying no. Even when I covered my ears, I could hear her say that. This young lady was raped. Trustees, did you read the book? I read the whole book, and many times. However, the inclusion of many vulgar, obscene, erotic, salacious scenes totally overrides any of the author's intentions about the positive transformation of Sweet Charlie, and the scenes are pervasively vulgar. I'm not going to read the definition of vulgar. You know what it is. Is rape okay? Is there educational value in vulgarities? Tacit consent to rape encourages criminal behavior. Who are the 6 people on the superintendent's ad hoc committee, secret anonymous committee, who voted to keep perks in the high school libraries? Many thanks to the one brave soul who voted to remove the book. Sexual references are used to groom children, to promote and normalize deviant behavior while rejecting and destroying society's cultural norms established over thousands of years. Slavery was once an accepted form until people started speaking up about slavery's immorality. Well, we're speaking up today about perversive vulgarity in library books. I implore you as trustees entrusted by parents to protect children, to remove, relocate, and stop ordering this book. It should have an R rating, warning of sexual vulgar content. Some of you are up for re-election. Taxpayers should know that they are paying for an R-rated book. Voters will be watching your vote. A better use of our tax dollars would be books for teens on how to overcome sexual advances, bullying, physical abuse, and alcohol and drug use. The book boldly demolishes many established cultural norms, using a seemingly innocent, intelligent, and shy teenager's efforts to be accepted by his peers, and teaches children to accept sexual exploitation, drunkenness, marijuana and LSD use, nudity, premarital sex, and abortion for an untimely pregnancy. Yes, we live in an inclusive culture. We are tolerant and respectful of other lifestyles, but we should never tolerate pervasive vulgarity in our public school libraries or classrooms. Excuse me. I've mentioned in a handout that I gave you the other examples of pervasive vulgarity. Here's the bottom line. In the Supreme Court decision of Island Trees versus Pico, Island Trees School District versus Pico, number 1, you as a school board are responsible for supervising the education of students in your care, and can remove materials that are deemed educationally unsuitable or pervasively vulgar, which this book is. I've also listed the other vulgarity, substance abuse, underage drinking of alcohol, marijuana use, LSD use, and after effects, getting stoned with a guidance counselor, teens drinking brandy, self-medicating with marijuana, stoned at school, teen purchase of poppers, aerosol can, limo driver getting everyone stoned. Physical abuse, boyfriend hitting Charlie's sister across the face, dad slapped Charlie, grandfather beating daughters over poor report card. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Dr. Shaka, you have 5 minutes.
President Crane, members of the board, Dr. Smith, Executive Cabinet, and guests. I'm Dr. Mike Shaka, the Administrative Director of Secondary Education in our district. Early last school year, an inquiry was made to our Secondary Educational Service Department by Ms. Lease about the book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, being located in several school libraries in grades 7 through 12. At the time, our school secondary educational service team utilized our district-selected book evaluation tools, Book List, Hornbook, Accelerated Reader, and School Library Journal, to evaluate the book's age appropriateness. After careful review, the Secondary Educational Department, it was determined that it should be reclassified to our high school libraries. All copies of the book were then relocated to high school libraries. Afterwards, we received a request for reconsideration of instructional materials from Ms. Lease, asking for the book to be removed from all NMUSD high school libraries. In response, under the guidance of both Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 1312.2, I was directed by Dr. Smith to assemble a book review committee, of which I served as a committee coordinator. The purpose of this committee was to evaluate the book and make a recommendation to the superintendent with regards to age appropriateness of the book and its placement in our high school libraries. The committee was composed of 2 secondary general education teachers, 1 secondary special education teacher, 1 community member, 1 site-level administrator, and 1 district-level administrator, along with our district librarian, with the goal of having representation from multiple school sites and multiple zones within our district. The book review committee met twice. The first meeting was last spring on April 17th. The purpose of this first meeting was to introduce the committee members to each other, review board policy and administrative regulations, review the roles and responsibilities of the committee, review the library materials selection tool and professional reviews of the book, and distribute copies of the book to each member. The committee was then asked to read the book in its entirety prior to our second meeting scheduled for May 15th. On May 15th, the committee reconvened. At that time, the team read and discussed the request for reconsideration of instructional materials submitted by Ms. Leese. The committee also revisited the professional book reviews, recommendations, and engaged in comprehensive dialogue regarding the appropriateness of the book for high school libraries. It's important to note, of our library selection review tools, Hornbook, Book List, Accelerated Reader, and School Library Journal, 3 out of the 4, Book List, School Library Journal, and Accelerated Reader, had reviews and aid recommendations available for this book. All of these tools identified grades 9 through 12 as the recommended grade level. The book committee diligently conducted its review process concerning the suitability of content and age appropriateness of materials, while also fostering an inclusive dialogue within the designated book review committee. Guided by district policy, the committee has diligently conducted its review process concerning the suitability of content and age appropriateness of materials. The team emphasized holistic evaluation over fragmented assessments, meaning we looked at the book as a whole and its intended message, rather than focusing only on individual words, sentences, or passages that, when presented out of context, could be interpreted differently than intended. Upon completion of the process, the committee submitted a comprehensive recommendation to Dr. Smith for his review. The committee recommended by a vote of 6-1 the retention of the book Perks of Being a Wallflower within our 9 through 12 libraries. The book committee recognized the book's potential to provide valuable insights and learning opportunities for students engaged in self-directed, interest-based reading within the high school library setting. This recommendation was underpinned by a thorough consideration of district policy, adherence to American Library Association school library selection criteria standards, and the Newport-Mesa Unified School District materials selection process. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Board, would you like to first deliberate before we make the motion, or should we just make the motion? I'd like to hear what you have to say as far as discuss amongst ourselves now, or would you like to first make the motion?
I can make the motion.
Oh.
I motion to deny the appeal to remove the book, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, from the secondary 9 to 12 libraries for the reasons provided in the superintendent's correspondence to the resident dated May 28th, 2024.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion by Trustee Murphy and a second by Trustee Ursoilu. And it is recommended to deny the appeal, to remove the book. All right, so any comments?
Yes.
Trustee Barto.
Thank you. So I'll probably be in the minority here, and that's okay. I did read the book, and I read, and I have to say that I did appreciate at the end the hopeful nature of it. I found it difficult to get into because it's been a long time since I've been a teenager. But also, it made me uncomfortable, and uncomfortable in 2 ways. One was the good way, where you think about, took me back to things that friends of mine experienced during high school that I would rather forget. I think that the ultimate hopeful nature of the book, and knowing that kids go through stuff sometimes without their parents knowing, that is challenging and hard. And I love that they involved the parents in those discussions. That's how we want it to resolve. The other part, though, that made me uncomfortable, and not in a good way, is I feel like I read this version, I read the YA version, I didn't finish the movie, but it is PG-13. I felt like some of the language in the book that we currently have is salacious. It detracts from the story. I believe that if you're wanting to view this transformation and people are having a hard time, you don't need those extra things in there. I think that's not what we're here to do. I can't recommend that we choose another version because that's not what this vote is for. But I can't, I would vote to uphold the appeal because I think that those salacious pieces don't need to be there in order for that really uncomfortable but hopeful reading and transformation for students to occur.
Thank you, Trustee Barto. Anyone else? Trustee Ersoylu and then Anderson.
Yeah, I just want to thank the, and I apologize for my voice, I've been sick for a very long time now. I just want to thank the team from Newport Harbor and especially our students who, I think this is the whole reason we are here. So there are some very loud voices from the community that are, choosing to want to restrict what students are allowed access to based on their preference and their values. But the mere fact that we had an actual student come up here and tell us herself that this book was important to her at a critical moment in her life. I think if it helped save her, it helped save Charlie in the book. I mean, that is why we are here. So to have one student come and say that is more than enough convincing for me to not go through with the appeal. So thank you.
Trustee Anderson?
Thank you. One of the things that I think is interesting about this, that it was brought to us, is this isn't a book that is being currently used in a classroom. A teacher isn't reading this, discussing it, putting it forward. It is a purely optional book that any student could choose that's in high school, of which this book is rated for 9th to 12th grade. I think for me, similarly to what the student shared, but also I think from a lot of the people I know from when I was in high school and students that I speak to now struggle with all of the same things that are in this book. And to hear from some of the people in our community who maybe that wasn't their experience, that's okay. But if something isn't your experience, that doesn't mean that we need to remove it from other people's access. I think one of the things that's really important about public education and democracy is that we are not a monolith in our community. Our students are not. They come from different religious backgrounds. They have different experiences. I think for me, someone who is well educated can read something like Chaucer that at one point was very inappropriate and deemed completely obscene, to Shakespeare, to something like this that is very indicative of what a normal child in America experiences in 2025. It may not be what everyone would dream is the situation, but that is what is happening in our schools. I think a concern that I have is when we have a topic like particularly male mental health, which is something that is ignored in a majority of the conversations that I have heard personally, not in our district necessarily, but across the country, to have something that is one book that a student might be able to read and understand and normalize being on an antidepressant, having the experience of some of the moments that this person has in this book. I learned a lot from reading books that it wasn't my experience, but I read and I had greater empathy. One of the things that we need in our society, in our schools, is greater empathy and exposure to other people's experiences that are not our own. One of the things to me that I've always felt is really powerful, particularly, is the book Freedom Writers, right? Freedom Writers is a book that a community member who brought this forward is very much a fan of, and particularly because of the lived experience. In other jurisdictions, that book is taken away from classrooms or students because of vulgarity, because of guns, because of gangs, because of teenage vernacular. Yet that book is widely given out as an indicator for students to feel, I know this is your experience and I want you to feel someone else is representing that. So to have this book be brought forward by that same person to me is troubling, and it's unfortunate because I think a different sort of student in the same classroom could be experiencing those two different experiences. I personally am not in favor of banning a book that, for me specifically, is no worse than a wide assortment of books that we have in our public libraries and across the country. And 9th to 12th graders are learning how to be critical thinkers. They're learning how to discern oh, this is troubling. Oh, this experience happened and I don't know what to do. And often they are not going to talk to a parent about it. So to have positive reinforcement of what some of those hopeful morality lessons should be, I think is really important. So I agree with the trustees up here who have shared that they are not approving this appeal. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Anderson. Trustee Murphy.
Yeah, I guess the thing that's fundamental to me in all of this is I just don't believe in banning books, period. I just think it's un-American. I don't understand actually really where it comes from in the 21st century, where you can ban all the books you want, but there is the internet. And so if you want to read about whatever you want to read about, all you have to do is pick up your phone and read about it. And I don't know if you've been on a campus lately, but I'd say 99.9% of our students have phones and access to the internet. So I think what's more and most disturbing to me, besides it being un-American and a violation of our freedom of speech to try to ban books, it's frustrating as a fiscal conservative, actually, to waste this much time and energy and funding, taxpayer dollars, on something that is truthfully a moot point. Maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, you could have banned books and no one would have been able to figure out what was in the book, and they never would have been exposed to the content, and they never would have known anything about it. But that is just not the case today. We are not living in that world. So from my point of view, when we could be spending time, energy, resources on things that are so much more important for our students, on their actual education, on their reading, science, math, the things that really matter to them, that's where our resources, our time and energy should go. And that's what our taxpayer dollars are funding us to do, not be the morality police. So I take issue with all of this. It just is beyond frustrating to me. I will never approve banning a book. It is un-American, it goes against freedom of speech, and honestly, it's a moot point. Maybe, again, 1950 could have banned it all. It's 2024, and you can't.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else before I make my comments? Okay, so for me, in addition to what was mentioned, we must respect the process. And when our committee votes 6-1, we must pay attention as a board. And it's based on the process that was explained by Dr. Shaka. And so for me, again, in addition to some of the comments out here tonight, I want to respect the process, and I want to respect the people who took the time to go through this and spend their time towards giving us a recommendation. And a 6-1 is pretty solid. And so that would be my comment. Thank you. Are we ready? Okay, so basically, the recommendation is to deny the appeal. So a yes vote is a denial, a no vote is not. Okay, so can we have a roll call vote, please?
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wigan? Trustee Ursoilu?
Yes to deny, right? Yes.
Trustee Barto?
No.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
All right, the vote carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 yeas and 1 nay, and 1 absent. Thank you. All right, let's move on to 17B, approve Third Amendment to Employment Agreement for Superintendent.
Yeah, with the successful evaluation, I have a chance to come before the board in public and ask for any contract adjustments. The only one I'm seeking is an extension of my contract by 1 year, which is permissible by law.
All right, thank you, Dr. Smith. Do I have a motion for this, for 17B?
So moved.
Second.
Who was it? Ashley? Okay. Moved by Trustee Barto, seconded by Trustee Anderson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Wigan? Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
The vote carries unanimously with one absent. Let's move on to the added item that we added to and created 17C, which is from B41. And that was the contract, where is it? Hold on. 41. Approve the renewal agreement between Groundswell, the Bridges Program, and Newport Harbor High School for the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, was that, sorry. Anderson or Sorlu? All right, discussion?
Yes, again, I asked to pull this one because while I think the Bridges program has been a valuable program, especially for our high school students who kind of needed an additional group to be part of. My issue's more with Groundswell. We had some issues with them in the past, which led us to discontinue a previous relationship, I believe, and they've rebranded. I'm just concerned that they haven't really addressed kind of the issues that we had with them in the past. So it's problematic for me to continue the contract.
Okay, Trustee Anderson, and then Trustee Anderson.
Thank you.
And Trustee Ursulou.
Yes. When we last approved this agreement, it was during the school year, and we had, I think, over 20 Newport Harbor students come, and they were emphatic that we keep this program and of the importance of this program at their school site and doing what it's intended to do, bridging the very different populations and perspectives and viewpoints of students at the campus. One of the things too, and actually being able to attend some of these when they were part of a different group, is seeing that it also was something that was important and valuable for staff at Newport Harbor. They were able to attend and learn from this and to hear directly from students. I think there might be a bit of a confusion as to an outside provider that was doing some of the classes previously rather than the organization. I am a firm supporter in OC Human Relations, which had been tasked for many years with a county contract. And I see this as an essential need in our continuing polarization in our community. And so I don't want to, I mean, we're able to, but like it's frustrating to see a program that we've had since 2002 and has been widely received and applauded on our campuses by staff, parents, and students continue to come up as an issue of question. When we have a year that goes by on one of our campuses that we don't have swastikas, perhaps we can consider changing course. But we continue to have hate crimes. We continue to have extreme racism on some of our campuses, unfortunately. When that dies down, when we don't have that as much, perhaps we can consider removing an organization and a program that directly create situations to reduce that and to protect our students and to bring groups together and students that are divergent to have a safe space to talk through differences, which to me is what I think all students should be learning as they exit our schools. So yes, I hope that we can approve it tonight as we have since 2002. Thank you.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes, I think Trustee Anderson has said a lot of what I would argue what we're talking about here. And again, spending our precious time is talking about a $9,000 contract to keep doing what has been done and has been successful at one of our school sites for decades. So again, to let folks know, this is about planning school-wide projects, student conflict resolution, facilitator training, supporting the teachers that are implementing Bridges. And just a little bit more about Bridges. I went back through my I was the evaluator of the Bridges program back in 2013, evaluated it across all of Orange County, and I can tell you that this program is an extremely valuable asset to our kids, especially today, as it was in 2013, apparently, according to the data. But also, so that folks are aware, Bridges is a nationally recognized program. It's been identified by the White House as a promising practice. It's been chosen by the U.S. Department of Justice and Department of Education as one of 7 programs specifically to prevent hate crimes in schools and communities. And it was featured in a school safety journal, not a partisan, weird written, I don't know what, but a school safety journal in 1997 was touting how effective Bridges is for our students and for conflict resolution. So again, this is just manufacturing dissent on something that has been proven, tried and true to benefit our kids. And it's just something that we need to keep doing. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Pearson?
Yeah, Michelle, this is your school, so I want to hear from you. Do you see more negative coming out of this group than positive? I mean, what are you opposed to?
You know, I was like a complete 180 on this from where I was, and just a very minimal amount of due diligence when I researched this item kind of put me in a completely different spot than I had been, because I have seen value in this program. We back, I don't know how many years ago now, 6 years ago, when we had the issue with swastikas at Newport Harbor, was when we had this Bridges program come about, and I think that it has since 2018.
It was way before that. It was way before the swastikas.
But this original contract goes through 2018. I did the backup on it. So that was why we brought this particular program back.
That was in 2019.
Right?
The incident was in 2018.
I mean, Carrie can speak on that because that's where I got my.
Why don't we ask, do you know the information, please, Dr. Torres?
I do.
Ms. Torres.
And we have at several points of your discussions tonight, there's accuracy. But just to clarify, we have been in partnership with this organization since 2002 and have varying levels of contracts for the Bridges program since that time. In 2018, they pivoted. The organization, Groundswell / OC Human Relations, pivoted in their contracting and changed their direction in terms of just actual technical work. And so in 2018, we renewed the contract and it moved forward. And we've continued to bring this contract forward in perpetuity each year. Boom, 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 right? So, and of course, in the 3 years that I've been here, I've seen it, and this being the 3rd time. So it is a long-standing contract, and it has had different focuses or foci over the few years, knowing that Newport Harbor has faced many different tumultuous and turbulent times. They have come in and supported at different levels. And so the OC Human Relations of 2018 was working on specific issues of 2019, and currently in 2024 what they plan to do. So this particular new contract, I would say, was birthed in 2018, but we have had that long-standing partnership since 2002, with Debbie Poe leading that for over 20 years, 2 decades worth of work with this group.
Okay, so Trustee Pearson, you asked the question to Trustee Barto to be specific about the experience. So are you done? Are you done, Trustee Barto, with your? Please keep going.
Yeah. No, so like I said, I did my due diligence and I looked up the people who are involved in the coordination of the program, and as I looked into their backgrounds, I'm not comfortable with, public school serves all types, and we need to bridge gaps, and I think racism has no place in our schools. So I'm not opposed to the Bridges program, and I know it's very valued by our staff and our students. But when I look into the background of the people who are specifically involved in the program at that high school from Groundswell, it's different than merely healing racism. It's promoting a lot of other things, and so that's why I have a problem with it. And I know that when we worked with OC Human Relations in the past, there had been some challenges in the way they handled things after the fact, and after the Red Solo Cup incident, we'd been kind of directed like how we wanted the program to run for our district. I don't feel confident that it's going to continue to run in the direction that we want it to run, just based on the biographies of the people who are involved in 2024.
And there are all those are kids.
Trustee Anderson, oh, Trustee Anderson, you have the light on.
But these people that you looked into.
Trustees, let's remember, we have to take turns. Yeah.
We're also not supposed to be having dialogue, so I again double check. So this contract was approved last time in 2018. The swastika beer pong, not the red solo cup, to me, we need to call it what it is, was March 2019. So us approving bridges, again, did not have a correlation with the incident. My concern is there was an outside group that I'm not going to name because it was a small business. I don't think it's appropriate, but they were not connected to this organization. They were an outside entity of our task force. I think they're getting convoluted in what I'm hearing. I'm hearing it being convoluted as the same thing, and they're not. OC Human Relations, now Groundswell, has been leading this work in our county and at Newport Harbor, and if one consultant that they use is a problem or a concern, that is one thing. Perhaps we can ask for specific people that are part of their staff that are paid members of their staff, but that to me does not negate an entire contract. And also I just want to point out that while the schools in my area are all elementary schools that I represent, we represent the whole district, as my lovely former trustees Fleur and Matoye used to tell me every day. The students from Whittier and a bunch of students from Ray also attend Newport Harbor. And I actually just had a former Newport Harbor student this week reach out to me about our work and asking where it was going because she had experienced so much racism in our schools. So when the students from Whittier and Ray matriculate to Newport Harbor and they feel like they don't have a voice and that no one is connecting with them, this program specifically has been that advocate, that vehicle of connecting people. So if one person or two people that are outside consultants that are not even members of an organization are the problem, I think that can be a conversation, but I would not want that to directly or negatively impact students.
Okay. Trustee Pearson, did you have, do you want to finish your thought?
I'm just trying, this is the first I've heard, so I'm just trying to figure this out. So the one person that you've looked into, are they in direct contact with our students at Newport Harbor? I mean, is it something that they're going to?
Dr. Torres, do you know the answer?
I don't have the name of that individual. I'd have to research that. However, we do have a regular partner that is with Newport Harbor, meaning a regular service provider who is part of Groundswell OC Human Relations, who does work with Newport Harbor High School. It's been a consistent individual. However, if one of the trustees has a question about a particular individual in the organization, I'd be happy to research that.
Breaking news, Dr. Smith may have the answer. Dr. Smith?
Yeah, I would say, because I've had this conversation and doing some research, that the person in question doesn't provide direct services to students. We have Angela Zavala and Ghana Deep that have been there for a while. I think Angela Zavala is actually a graduate of Newport Harbor High School. I think what we're talking about is someone related to the organization. But to your question about who provides the services to students, it's those two people.
All right. Trustee Ursulio?
Yeah. I mean, it's just curious to hear that, research into recon into someone's background at an organization is guiding a decision when we know this organization has been providing this service for 20 years with Allie Edwards has been at the helm of Bridges and is now at the helm of Groundswell. And she has the utmost integrity, and most of us here know her. And so anyone who is working under her, I would also assume that she has vetted them as thoroughly as she needs to run her nonprofit organization. So this is just a curious conversation to me. I don't know why we're having it, but to just voice my dissent for questioning staff members of an organization that we know and trust. And are we going to start reading everyone's bio? I mean, I taught a course called Environmental Racism in America. Should I be booted from the board? So it's like, where does this end when we start investigating everybody's resume? So yeah, that's all I have.
All right. Trustee Barto.
And again, I feel like I've been very supportive of bridges over the years. I have a bridges sweatshirt that I wear, so I'm not really opposed to bridges, and I'm not opposed to the work. What I'm opposed to is specific things that I've seen related to the work, and I know that we had a hiccup when we worked with this organization in the past. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, and if we can confirm that what we're providing is moderate and fair, I have no problem with those things.
All right, Trustee Barto, can you provide the specifics? Because you've mentioned specifics, such as.
I don't feel like doxing someone I don't think that's fair. I mean, you guys can vote how you like, but I don't really want to call someone out.
No, that's okay. I respect that. All right, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and vote. Roll call, please. This is so we can clarify. This is to approve the contract for bridges.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
Trustee Weigand? Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Barto?
No.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
All right, the motion carries 5 yeas and 1 nay, 1 absent. Thank you. We now move on to Superintendent informal reports with Dr. Smith.
I've started with this lesson before. We don't take summers off in public education. But recently we finished our Summer Scholars Academy. What a great program. Again, so I've said this before, but again, grateful for classified, certificated staff, for everyone that pulled that off, maintenance, operations, transportation, everything that it took, the warehouse, to serve 4,000 kids, amazing. And I think about the conversations I had with students, right? So we can talk about the numbers of people, et cetera. I'm visiting a classroom with Girls Incorporated, and it's about entrepreneurship. And the student is 3rd grade, and she's pitching this idea in a Shark Tank environment of a freeze-dried, all-healthy yogurt, right, drink, froyo kind of thing. And she said, but all healthy. And I said, well, what, do you have to have water to rehydrate? She goes, no, that wouldn't be any use. What if you're out in the desert, you don't have water? You just put it in your mouth and rehydrates it. And she said, and the trick is, with our bag, we're not filling it half full like those potato chip bags. It's going to be full of high-quality stuff, right? These are our kids talking about freeze-dried froyos they can take to the desert on a hike and hydrate themselves, right? And again, Girls Incorporated, the STEAM, the women in STEAM that we just saw, it starts at that young age. That's a powerful coordination of what we're talking about. And then to see the performances and the play and the activities. And I just want to compliment the board because once again, I sat in each of those MPRs and we've got work to do, right? They're hot. They're hot. I'm kind of a heavy guy. I sweat a little bit. And I learned 2 years ago I got to pack handkerchiefs in my pockets so I can wipe myself down. And you can't hear some of the folks because they don't have mics up there. And so kids, you're missing out on some of the gems. But here's the good news. This board and our staff have worked on that and fixed that. They identified the TIC fund some time ago to provide those resources. Our team has been working on the specs for all that. This year we'll have fan systems, quiet fan systems to circulate the air and make those rooms cooler for students and the staff that serve the students, and they'll have drop-down mics and PA systems. So this board is prioritizing that work, and it really just lifts up the opportunities we have. I mentioned summer work. If you drive around the district, you'd think we're not opening this coming year because at every site we're doing all kinds of work, roofs and extra buildings and looking at capacity issues, and there's construction everywhere, and we are on target to open every school before teachers come back on the 12th. Right? Even with all that work, that doesn't happen by accident. So facilities, M&O, all the work you do, and then warehouse, right? All the things we have to take out there. We do new textbook adoptions, right? People think about, oh, you know, it's all about the debate about which is a better book. And warehouse is just saying, how did we get all those books? Whatever book you pick, how do we get it out there, right? And then I decide to bring in Stephen R. Covey and the Franklin Group to do Leadership at the Speed of Trust, and they send us pallets of information. You're welcome. Everybody in the room gets to attend on this Friday. And the warehouse has to figure out where to put those and how to get those out and all of that. And you know what they do? They just do it, right? So to all of our teammates, to, again, classified certificate that are here, that haven't left, that are preparing, even if they did leave, rather, and they're preparing for the 19th, when we welcome back 18,000 of the best students on this planet, right? I just want to send a big kudos and a thank you to all of them for all you've done, all you're doing to prepare for that date. It's inspirational to watch all of you work and for the board's prioritizing those elements, including expanded learning. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Who would like to go? I'm just going to give trustee choice this time. Trustee Bartow?
CTE for 1 second.
Yeah.
One thing that I think is really great is Coastline ROP entered into, hopefully, it's going to OCDE tonight, but a partnership with OCDE with Access. So our Access students will have access to our Coastline ROP programs, which I think is such a valuable way to engage students who are not engaged with their regular coursework. That was all.
I know they have a spider lab.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Trustee Murphy?
Oh, sure, you want me to espouse more on my feelings about banning books?
Whatever, it's your turn.
Now
You've
that
got the mic.
everybody knows how I feel about it. I'm probably going to get the nastiest books on the planet sent to me, so that'll be fun. Just wanted to say, always I respect your opinion, so thank you for sharing it. And you know, on certain things, of course, that you said, I agree, but it's just a fundamental view on book banning. But so I just wanted to thank Jeff and his team for everything you're doing for Costa Mesa. Yay! As Supervisor Foley said, we are very much looking forward to the ribbon cutting. Are we going to like put a big ribbon around the whole football field and make it real cool? So I know it's been a lot of work, and I know your team has put a lot of time and energy and effort, which I find very, very applaudable and a good use of your time, energy, and resources to make sure that our students at Costa Mesa have the best facilities. So, and are able to have what we have at Costa Mesa, which is like, you know, the stands are full of, you know, of students, of former students, of, you know, community members. And so it's going to be great. I can't wait. And thank you. Also, just wanted to say thanks for everybody's hard work on the Raiders. I don't know if anyone saw them cruising through town yesterday, going down Fairview with a police motorcade. So, right, that was exciting. So I did get lots of people asking me how they can go watch the Raiders, and I don't know if anyone's noticed that you can't see that the fences have all been blacked out. So unfortunately, anyone who's out there watching, you cannot go see the Raiders. But thank you to them and our team and everyone who put together the agreement with them for the new equipment in the gym, because I'm already hearing from our football players at Costa Mesa how much they love the new equipment and how excited they are about that. So as always, thank you to our amazing team and your staff and all the hard work you put into everything that makes our district so great and such a wonderful place for our students.
Thank you, Trustee Murphy. Trustee Pearson?
I got to go visit our summer school students at Lincoln a couple weeks ago. It was fantastic. I want to thank the district and everyone involved in the summer school program. I mean, thank you for everything you do. It's so nice walking into an auditorium of parents and students when everybody is happy. It was just, I got to see dancers, singers, and they all sounded good and they were fantastic. So thank you. Thanks for providing our students with that very valuable lessons during the summer.
I just love the agendas as we get closer to the school year with all of the items of things that we're going to be offering. I'm real excited about the addition of so many high quality after school programs and support services for our students. I'm really excited too to see AVID expanding, and I did just want to mention that Bridges is an opt-in program for anyone who is concerned or any questions. And lastly, on Saturday is our community resource fair. Thank you for Dr. Torres for putting all of that together, Ms. Shields, and all of the community partners that are coming from foster care agencies to haircuts to all kinds of things in our community. And thank you to IKEA for hosting that at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Thank you.
Great. So I too had the opportunity to go visit summer school, see our scholars in action. Went to Lincoln and Mariners campuses. I was escorted by Dr. Flores, who showed me all the classrooms, and it was absolutely amazing to see the kids, how excited they were, and there was learning, there was thinking maps, and a lot of just fluency-related activities. But then you go to another classroom, and there's the Girls Inc. entrepreneurial showcases and arts and music. I went to a theater production. There was just so much going on. And the best part is that these kids are not on screens at home. They are in the classroom in a safe environment, and they are socializing with each other under a very guided and professional team. And so that's amazing. And I bragged to all my other trustees from other districts, like we have one of the most robust programs. And I'm actually excited to see data, because I know that some of the staff has taken, teachers took baseline assessments and then exit assessments. So we can't wait, because as you know, we love data. So we'd love to see the progress at some point when you're ready. So thank you to the summer school staff and everyone that made it happen, classified, certificated. I do know that the teachers that were there were, it's an opportunity for them to also, make more money, and also be able to afford the 3 weeks after, because we started, they really enjoyed starting school closer to the end of the year. And then that way they would have 3 weeks left for summer to be with their families. And so they appreciated that. I want to do a shout out to our Olympians. It is the Olympics right now, and we have several Olympians that are competing at the world level. I mean, how amazing. I know for sure Newport Harbor is represented in water polo, CDM. I think we have more from our schools. We're going to get the data and also share that. But wow, how amazing is that? So not only do we turn out scholars, we turn out just amazing humans, period. And today I had the pleasure of attending Assemblywoman Dixon's quorum on, she had invited superintendents and trustees because she wanted to hear what we wanted, what we needed from Sacramento. And I just appreciate the fact that she reached out to these educational leaders in her district in order to hear how she could be more effective in Sacramento when it comes to education. So she heard an earful, for sure. But it was great. There were about 7-8 districts represented, including Newport-Mesa. So it was wonderful to be there, and I really appreciate the fact that she reached out to us, and for her to hear where we're coming from. And that's it. I just wish everyone an end of year for summer just done, and then just kind of just rejuvenate and do the reset button, refresh, and just start the fall with a bang. So, and thank you everyone for being a part of it. Meeting is adjourned, 7:54.